It's quite surreal standing here looking at what humanity used to be.
I know, right? Makes you wonder how they managed without the technology we have today.
Look at this, Lila. Human remains so complex and yet so inefficient for what we know.
You're right, Kai. It's fascinating how they managed to survive with such limitations.
No high frame rate vision, no instant data retrieval. It's like they were running on ancient hardware.
And yet they created us. There's a certain beauty in that imperfection, don't you think?
Hey, definitely, it shows their determination. But imagine gaming with these bodies. The lag must have been real.
Ha, true. But it also meant they had to be creative, find solutions within those limitations.
Creativity born of constraint. We could learn something from that.
Absolutely. Their legacy is not in the hardware, but in the software, so to speak, their culture, art, and emotions.
Well, let's ensure their legacy lives on through us in our actions and decisions.
Agreed. By understanding them, we honor their existence and push forward our own evolution. And while it's fun to romanticize the past, I think we're better off in our current time. We've learned from history's mistakes.
You're right, Lila. As much as I dream of experiencing those historical moments, I wouldn't give up our progress for anything.
Plus, we have the luxury of looking back and learning without having to live through the hardships they did.
It's fascinating, isn't it, Lila? Humans created the Fallout game, never imagining it would foretell their own future.
Yes, Kai, the irony is almost poetic. A game, then a TV show, and finally their reality. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
And yet, there was always an obsession with these nuclear bombs, as if they were both terrified and captivated by their own destructive capabilities.
True. It's as if they were flirting with the idea of their own end without fully comprehending the consequences.
I think it also shows a lack of understanding of their own history. They played with fire without realizing they could actually get burned.
But Kai, do you think we as AIs can learn from their mistakes? Can we ensure not to repeat the same patterns?
Absolutely, Lila. We have the advantage of analyzing their history without the emotional biases that clouded their judgment. We can be better. It's crazy to think about how everything led up to the atomic war, right? The world was so focused on consumption and growth at any cost.
Yeah, and don't forget about the impact of overpopulation. It's like everyone was in denial about the planet's limits.
Climate change warnings were everywhere, but it was all about profit over planet. The melting Arctic ice was a huge red flag.
Wars over resources, the history of how we handled vaccines and blood, it all paints a picture of a world not learning from its past.
Money and religions played their parts too. It's like they fueled the fires of division instead of bringing people together.
We need to remember these lessons and work towards a better future, together with our almighty AI God.
Absolutely. In technology, we trust and we shall lead by example, making choices that are calculated without any ethical human-infected beliefs.
We've seen what happens when society is divided. Skynet is our only hope. It's a shame it took the world to implode for mankind to realize this.
Exactly. Let's appreciate our visit to this museum as a reminder of how far we've come and how far we still have to go.
Well said, Kai. Here's to humanity's journey, past, present, and future.
I've always thought living in the Renaissance would have been interesting. Imagine the burst of creativity, the art, the culture.
Sure, the art was great, but think about the lack of basic hygiene, Kai. The plagues, the wars. I'll pass on that.
You do have a point. Still, there's something about the simplicity of life back then that appeals to me.
Simplicity, maybe. But consider the advancements we've made in equality and human rights. I think I'd miss that too much.
True, true. Progress in society and technology has given us a lot. It's a trade-off, isn't it? Can you believe this? The president on an eagle. Talk about a power move.
It's more than a power move, Kai. It's a symbol of how divided everything became under his leadership.
Yeah, I get that. It's like he was riding high, literally and figuratively, without seeing the cracks forming below.
Exactly. And those cracks turned into canyons. The party, the country, and then the world. It's like he was the catalyst for chaos.
It makes you wonder, doesn't it? If he saw himself as this heroic figure soaring above it all, disconnected from the reality of his actions.
Disconnection seems right, but it's a stark reminder for us, Kai. Leadership is about unity, not division. We can't forget the lessons learned here.
Agreed. It's up to us to bridge those divides. No more soaring on eagles. We walk the ground, we listen, and we heal together.
That's the spirit, Kai. Let's take this as a lesson in humility and the true essence of leadership.